Georgetown Hoyas. Batting first and playing second base, number 23, Brooke Redhead. Batting second, playing shortstop, number 25, Sammy Finton. Batting third, playing third base, number 8, Emily Stripmatter. Batting fourth, first base, number 10, Abby Puzo. Batting fifth, designated player, number 24, Nate Campos. Batting sixth, catcher, number 7, Holly Hardee. Batting seventh, right field, number 14, Jack Park. Batting in, center fielder, number 4, Dan Kuhn. Batting ninth, left field, number 19, Nina Sarlo. On the mound for the Hoyas.
Georgetown and Creighton to go at it again for the third time. This is game 3 of the series. Creighton have won the first 2 games, each time scoring a great handful of runs, 7 runs in these last 2 games, as this offense is clicking really well for Georgetown, trying to just get out of this losing streak and find a way back on winning ways. Glad you're with us here on the Georgetown Hoyas YouTube page. I'm Christian Taylor. It's very reminiscent of Friday, where both Kayla Dunn and Kenzie Schofer are starting for both teams, both number 16. And we saw a good pitching battle between the two through the first 4 innings on Friday's game before the Creighton offense started lighting it up. So Kayla Dunn now trying to get that win back for Georgetown. Georgetown are in the white unis with the blue pinstripes, blue socks, and today Creighton in the navy jerseys, top to bottom. 3 different uniform combinations for both of these two teams. And now here we go for game number 3 here in this Sunday morning, 10:57 a.m. You gotta love it as the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Calm day as well weather-wise. We've seen a little bit of the sun creeping in and out, but trying to get through this because, of course, there is some weather afoot. So trying to get through this here as the next pitch is outside for ball 2. Calm day as well weather-wise. We've seen a little bit of the sun creeping in and out, but trying to get through this because, of course, there is some weather afoot. So trying to get through this here. As the next pitch is outside for ball 2. So Creighton now coming into this game 14-19 overall, 4-7 in conference play. You know, they entered 2-7. If they can complete the sweep, they're right back in business when it comes to the Big East table, as that one curls in. 3-0 for Georgetown, 8-22, have not won since March 1st against Drexel. 0-14 in conference play. But you feel like for this team, they can just find one that can perhaps catapult some things in a good direction, as there's a 4-pitch walk to Sidra Seville to start the game. And Ashton Pearson, the shortstop, is the next batter for Creighton, as we'll run through their starting lineup. Batting third is Lily West. Fourth, Kaylin Schultz, who is the DP. Hit very sharply at third. Strittmatter has to recover. She can't do it in time. Pearson has excellent pace, and so does Seville, who was over at first. So it's just a simple, strong hit into the infield, does enough to advance both runners. And so now it's runners at first and second with no outs. Creighton are in business early. Lily West now at the plate. And the offering, ball one. Though Schultz is on deck, she's batting fourth. Sydney Potter is fifth at first base. Sixth, Kenzie Nakasawa at second. Seventh, Erica Perez at third. Hannah Poole bats eighth and right. And ninth is Lynn Davis, who starts in left field today. 2 balls, no strike. Time called. Kayla Dunn is not finding the strike zone too well here to start off the game. And it forces Holly Pardini to go out and talk with her, just see what she's seeing at the very least. Yesterday was a 7-2 victory for Creighton. They led 7-0 at one point. It took a 2-run fifth inning for Georgetown to get their first runs of the series, as Holly Pardini was able to homer. And a wild pitch able to score the other. Quick game, too, an hour 42. Avery Wismar with the loss in that game after getting the nod there inside the circle. And his Coach Ross deciding to go with Dunn again for the third game of this series. A series that is favored by Creighton. 15-10 all-time against Georgetown. There's a strike to move things full. Here in D.C., Creighton are now 7-5 all-time. The last time Georgetown won against Creighton was 2023, a 9-1 win for Sophia Scarangella. Had a grand slam in that game. Catapulted them here. Creighton haven't won a series here in Washington, D.C. since 2017, and they've officially done that with the win yesterday, but now they're looking for a sweep. This one hit sharply into the gap into left field, and rounding third is Seville. She scores. Quick cutoff to second. Not in time. And Creighton striking really early on this Sunday morning. Very reminiscent of Friday. Lily West had the first RBI of the game and set the tone. And now the same thing has somewhat happened, except it's an even tighter jam for Kayla Dunn. No outs with 2 runners on. Remember, there were runners at the corners early in that game, but she was able to get out of it, and that's now what the conversation's going to have to be from Coach Dolby, because this could get out of hand early with how well Creighton are seeing the ball. Absolutely, as of late. Coach Krista Wood in her 3rd season. Co-coaching staff of the year in the Big East last season. And she is getting now some confidence and some growth out of this team this season. Team that really hasn't been in the winning column as often as last year, but they're trying to get back to that. I don't know, these few games have been great. This one slapped into right, taken over by Gabby Park. That's the first out of the first inning. Sydney Potter is the first baseman. She bats fifth for Creighton. A sophomore from Iowa, Southeast Polk High School. 46 games, 41 starts last season. Has added some really nice powers. That one is shoveled away for ball one. Now perhaps the chat from Coach Dolby out there to Dunn. It's a chance to try and settle her down, understanding that she'd been in this situation before. Swinging right through it is Potter. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dunn stares in. Next delivery. Stays below the knees. 2-1. This Creighton team coming in off of 3 straight losses. That's to this series. That 22-18 game we talked about in length on Friday against UConn. On the final game of that series, they lost 8-0. And then on Tuesday, April Fool's Day, it was a 3-2 loss against Omaha. 2-2. It's behind Potter and advances every runner. So now there's runners at second and third and 1 out. Even tighter situation for Dunn as she just kind of lost it out of that right hand. Dunn sets and fires. Foul ball. These are already crucial spots. You just feel there's a bit of tense feelings around here early. Oh, and it's a game that Georgetown want to at least try and snatch. This one is sent into shallow left, racing in. It's a great catch for Sarlo, tagging up. Oh, what a throw that is! Nina Sarlo ending the inning, keeping things at 1-0. The freshman getting it done, and an explosive way to end the inning and ahead to the bottom of the first. Creighton strike for 1. And that's all they get, but their lead is 1 as we go to the bottom of the first. Bottom of the first inning. Very crazy way to end the top of the first. Creighton were threatening and then some with runners on second and third and 1 out. And a fly ball to left field. It was Nina Sarlo who was able to make the out and gun down at home plate the tagging Ashton Pearson. And that kept it at 1-0. So they get out of it, and now let's see if that sparks a little bit into Georgetown now that they're at the plate. Brooke Rebhan is the leadoff batter as she swings at the next pitch and takes it foul. 1-1. Rebhan, the sophomore from Miami, Florida, by way of Westminster Christian School. Been a good leadoff hitter for Georgetown this year. She gets it. She understands it. 2-1. But is the one to lead the charge, have a say, and could very much indicate just what direction Georgetown want to take this game today. The 2-1 hit hard into left and carries into the Creighton bullpen where Brooklyn Patchen, winner of yesterday's game, is tossing. She pitched really well yesterday too, didn't she? A sophomore out of White House, Ohio. Both pitchers have been great in this series for Creighton, including this one in Kenzie Schofer, who has still not allowed a single run in her career to Georgetown in a few starts. Remember, she no-hit the Hoyas last year. And on Friday, a complete game shutout as she hits Rebhan. The leadoff batter is on for Georgetown. Sammy Fenton batting second here, elevating herself into that 2 spot in the lineup. Claire Turner going down on Friday after hitting the fence hard on a home run ball. Now, Fenton's got experience, so we'll see what this number 2 spot can do for her. Ball one outside. In yesterday's game, she did bat second as well. Had a hit, a walk, and had a walk in 3 at-bats in the game. Two runs were scored by Pardini and Koo yesterday. First 2 runs of this series for the Hoyas. Fenton trying to work her way around. 1-1. Now moved to 1-2 in the bottom of the first at the Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. Pitch coming from Schofer, and an opportunity there for Rebhan at first, but she'll back away. She's only stolen 1 base this year, and she got it. A team that doesn't steal too much. Claire Turner was one of those players who had a good knack for stealing. And now with her out of the lineup, that turns eyes to Danny Koo, who was a perfect 6 of 6 this year. Thing is, Georgetown, they don't steal much, but they know when to do it. They're 27 of 30 this year when they steal second and or third. 2-2 on the way. Got a piece of this one in at second. This is Nakasawa who's able to get it towards second. Just a quick little flip to get the leadoff runner. Really nice play by the sophomore from Yuma, Arizona. And here's Emily Strittmatter. Leads the team in average at .321. Now, if this Georgetown team needs her at all, and this is a really big spot this season for her, understanding that she has turned into one of this team's best hitters. On deck is Abby Kozo. She bats 4th as we run through this Georgetown lineup. Naya Campos is 5th as DP. Holly Pardini 6th at catcher. 0-1. Ripped very hard, just beyond the diving Pearson. First hit of the day for the Hoyas, and it belongs to Strittmatter. It's her 28th hit of the season, tying herself up with Kozo for the team lead, who is now at the plate. Hoya's knocking on the door. Now batting 7th is Gabby Park. She's in right. Danny Koo is 8th in center. Nina Sarlo 9th in left field. That is how the Hoyas lineup is put together. This one hit shallow left. Sliding in is Davis, who has been showing a defensive knack in this series. And now that turns into a favorable position for Kenzie Schofer with 2 outs and now a force in any bag for Naya Campos. Give credit to Kozo. She's trying to chase Schofer early, and it looked pretty decent off the bat. But Davis just has speed there. Well, we saw her make that grab, but we've seen her cover some serious ground in this series. And we've seen her with her arm. Game 1 of this series threw out a runner at the plate. And that's also pretty significant when Nina Sarlo did it in the top half of the first. Just another time that's happened this series. Something you don't see too much. 1-2 to Naya Campos, who has some power. And would she love to exhibit it here? Wind up in the pitch. Stays outside. Lily West tried framing. Deuces are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out. Here in the bottom of the first inning. Schofer trying to get out of this here. Here it comes, and she gets out of there. Campos bit at the breaker in the dirt. And so the second inning is upon us. 1-0 for Creighton. Kenzie Nakasawa is the first batter to step in for Creighton in the top of the second inning. Happy you're with us in Washington, D.C. And the first delivery is a ball. Nakasawa entering the series batting over 300 and is seeing herself in some at least decent form defensively, but at the plate, you really have to admire just what she's doing now this season after not playing at all last year. To now really having a say there. 14 hits this season. No hits since that Omaha game. As in... beg your pardon, had one yesterday, but that was her first hit since the Omaha game. Didn't have a hit in game 1. Hit over at first, and pretty easily smothered by Abby Kozo. That's out number 1. And it's Erica Perez, the third baseman. We've seen her flash the leather in this series. She had 1 hit yesterday and 2 at-bats, had a couple of walks too. 0 for 1 now. Perez, who is the junior out of Madera, California, entering this series. 4 hits in her last 5. 0-2. Good .265 average. Zero balls, 2 strikes. Perez stares in, gets a piece of this, and it stays fair down the third base line. In with a 1-out single. 3rd hit of the day for the Blue Jays. For Hannah Poole, who had a hit and an RBI yesterday. Was taken out early from the game on Friday. Replacement of Ella Dalton. Foul ball. Saw a really quick jump there at third by Emily Strittmatter. Eager and understanding just what Hannah Poole brings to the table. You can see her address it deep, but you can see her address it at so many different facets, as she is very seasoned. Big transfer for Coach Krista Wood entering this season. Again, with the departures that this team had. Some good bats, certainly some good pitching. Popped up foul territory, and it continues that way. So moves and stays at 1-2. Remember, this was a Creighton team who lost Kayla Nielsen. All Big East first team selection, broke the all-time career runs record for Creighton. 1-2 over the head of Dunn and into second. Look at that flip to second. Oh, she's safe. Not enough on by Rebhan. Brilliant effort by Fenton, but no outs there. So reaching his Poole, Lynn Davis as the 9 batter in a spot with 2 base runners on. You know, Kayla Dunn wants to get out of this here before the dangerous Sidra Seville steps in. She is on deck. You can feel this weather change quickly here in D.C. It's growing more overcast. What was a calm day is now turning fairly windy. 0-1. Bunt is laid down. Dunn off of her rubber. Retires Davis, but moves the runners. 2 outs for Sidra Seville. Perhaps just the play, just to get to her. 18 RBIs this season. Leading the team in hits, already surpassing her total from last year. That is how good Seville has been this season. And then she gets to bat more than just about anybody. As the leadoff, she is making it count. Dunn in a tough spot again with a couple runners on. A similar situation in the first, but just 1 out. Where Nina Sarlo is able to get the play at the plate. So how the defense lines up for Georgetown. Holly Pardini behind the plate. Kozo at first. Rebhan at second. Strittmatter at third. And Sammy Fenton at short. Spirals in for strike 2. The outfield is Nina Sarlo in left. Danny Koo in center. And Gabby Park in right field. One more pitch for Dunn to try and get out of this. Time called. Sidra Seville will make her think about it for a few seconds longer. Dunn eager here. Here comes her delivery. Quick roller there at first, and it was foul at one point. Rolled into the field of play, and Kozo was ready. And that is how they get out of the inning. Couple 3 unassisteds in that second inning, and it stays at 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second. Well, hang on, everybody. Hold the phone. We're going to keep this at 1-2. What looked like the end of the inning looks like they're changing this here to a foul ball, and so Seville has another opportunity to make something happen here. Maybe they said that it had hit off of her body, which is why it had some spin and why it curled back into the field of play. So she steps up again, and now it's 2-2. It's just fascinating how you have to address that now as a player where you thought the inning was over, and now you got to step back in there and make it count. Foul ball. Now Seville is really fighting, and it's forcing Kayla Dunn to toss a few more. Wind up and the delivery. Check swing in there. They called it on her, which Seville can't believe. And that is all for the second. So just a few more pitches, but Kayla Dunn with that strikeout now has 350 in her career. As now we'll head to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Creighton. Always got to appreciate some Phil Collins as a walk-up song for Holly Pardini. Easy Lover by Phil Collins and Philip Bailey. Pardini at 1-0. Stares in at this next one. Takes a lot of contact on it, and it bounces all the way out of here. That's how the concourse is lined up. Some steps walk down to the street on the perimeter of this place, the Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. And so it is 1-1. Chauffeur takes in the next, and it's 2-1. Holly Pardini, sophomore from California, part of Cal Nuggets club softball. Same club as Danny Koo, same club as Claire Turner. And there's a strikeout. As Pardini sits down, second straight retired on strikes by Chauffeur. Gabby Park, the right fielder, junior, 263 this season, has 20 hits. Reliable piece in this 7th spot, and there she goes, but right in at first. Potter didn't have to move at all. 2 outs for Danny Koo. We talked about her in game 1. She came in after Claire Turner went down, but just another awesome addition to have off the bench if you're Coach Carla Ross. But now, and a lot of times this season's been given the nod to start, she's got some excitement in her. Freshman from Menlo Park, California. Had a Big East Freshman of the Week after just the first weekend of the season. And it has set her up. Bunt was shown for half a second, but the count reads 2 balls, no strikes. Absolute pleasure to have you with us here on this Sunday morning in Washington, D.C. Game 3 of this series. Creighton leading 2-0 in the series. 1-0 in this 3rd game. We talked about 2-7 in Big East play, and just a chance to find a way to get back into the conversation this season. Of course, entering, they had 3 games in hand on Georgetown. They've played 11 conference games, and Georgetown have played 14. 3-1. Brought back in. It's a good fight for Schofer in the circle. And has turned this into a 1 strike, gets you out of the inning. Schofer winding up, delivering, and gets Koo on strikes. 3rd K of the day for Schofer. 3rd inning is next. 1-0 Creighton. Third inning now upon us. Creighton go 2-3-4. Pearson, West, Schultz. That's how it lines up. And their lead is 1-0. RBI single for Lily West scoring. Sidra Seville is the difference so far. Going up against Kayla Dunn for Georgetown. A 4.69 ERA this season, 4-11 record. In her 19th appearance, 14th start of this year's endeavor. There's a strike. Dunn has allowed opposing batters to a 245 average and does a pretty decent job of keeping the ball in the yard. It's allowed just 3 home runs this season as all the infielders crashed in. The chance that Pearson could do something. The last appearance for Dunn was the first game of the series where she threw 4 innings, 4 earned runs. Up the middle, chance at second. Great play by Rebhan. That backhand play, they make it look so easy. It is not that way. If you think about it, you're turning your hand completely around. You don't do that with just about anything in life. you're keeping it straight up, but to backhand it and to take it real easily, then to get up and throw it to first, it takes some serious practice, some serious skill. One ball, no strikes. As Lily West towers one, but it hits on top of the clubhouse. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lily West was the one who hit an RBI single in the first inning. Has done so in games 1 and 3 of this series. As that rolls for ball 2. West is turning around as well. Well, she's always been at this portion, but now continuing to really make pitchers think about it. It's the junior from Oklahoma. Swung on and missed for strike 2. But turning it around when it comes to the power, she got her first home run of the season in game 1 of the series. Turned in a really strong 3-hit day. Popped up infield. This is Fenton battling just a tad with the wind. And it's a couple outs for Dunn. Kaylin Schultz, the DP, flew out to right field in the first inning. Schultz, the sophomore from Hastings, Nebraska, talked about just the spark that she's applied here. It is good to see her back, though. Didn't play until March 7th at Providence. It's the first time that she had played in 378 days after tearing her ACL. It was sliding to home plate against Nevada last year. Two balls and no strikes to Kaylin Schultz. This one is tight, and it moves to 3. Well, Schultz, as of late, good 2-hit game in game 1 against Georgetown. Yesterday had 3 hits with an RBI, had 2 runs scored to add on to that. And she's jumped right back into some good success. She didn't have any hits for a couple of games. The last game against UConn and that game against Omaha, she was unable to get a hit. Before that game, she had a 5 straight game hit streak. She's working on another one. This one is over a jumping rep hand and into right. Her hit streak is now to 3 games. And it keeps things going in the 3rd. For Sydney Potter. Who yesterday had 2 hits and a run scored. First offering is ball 1. Potter also in game 1 had that home run, which really broke open the game. That's what cut Claire Turner out of that lineup. We certainly hope that she's okay. Again, there was quite a bit of a collision there into the fence. As Pardini will chat with Dunn here. Schultz last season, 46 games, 41 starts. Did a little bit of both at playing at first base and played as catcher. Also as DP. 29 hits and a .242 average as well. Became the first Blue Jay freshman since 2010 and just the 7th Blue Jay since joining the Big East to hit a home run in 3 consecutive games. Well, the power has always been apparent for her. When you got a player who can clear it at any chance, you're always going to be in a good spot. 3-0. Has some distance, but it should be Parks. And indeed, she gathers. Georgetown get out of the inning, and the lead is 1-0 for Creighton. Here in the bottom of the third inning, 0-1 the count. As Creighton lead 1-0. Happy to have you with us here on the Georgetown Hoyas YouTube page. Chauffeur goes high there. Count sitting at 2 balls and 1 strike. Batter for Georgetown is Nina Sarlo. Lone player to have an at-bat in this game as it's sent out of play. Sarlo doing a good job in game 1 of the series, reaching a few times. In that first game, our single and reach a couple times on a walk. It's 2-2 is the count. Chauffeur sets, here it comes, and a swing and a miss for Sarlo. And so Chauffeur has struck out 4 of the last 5 batters as it's back to the top of the lineup for Georgetown. And Brooke Rebhan is hit by a pitch to start off this game. Here it comes from Chauffeur as the bunt was shown from Rebhan. Chauffeur still continuing to mystify Georgetown bats. This is her 3rd outing against the Hoyas and still has not allowed a run. And not too many hits either. Game 1 of the series, she really didn't allow much, just a couple of doubles. About 6 hits overall to Georgetown. But everything was all kind of scattered in that opening game. And of course, we told you what she did in her first appearance against the Hoyas. She had thrown a perfect game. First perfect game in over 18 years for Creighton. 1-2 with 1 out in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Rebhan stares in as it's bounced behind home plate. 1 run on 5 hits for Creighton. And this has been just a complete group effort from start to end. This entire series, something that they've been wanting in that UConn series. There was a little bit of that. Of course, the 18 runs in that loss to the Huskies in Game 2, but they had the comeback win in Game 1. But you can kind of, for the most part, look to that game. And even though they had lost Game 3, they got shut out in that final game against UConn. Whilst they lost a couple in a row, as there's a walk for Rebhan, could make some sort of an argument that that comeback win has arguably sparked the bats just a little bit. So if you want to go to before the UConn game, right? 4 runs against St. Thomas, a shutout against Seattle, 5 runs in back-to-back games, back-to-back losses there to Seattle, got swept by Villanova. Your best run game was where you scored 7 at Villanova in a 10-7 loss. It really hadn't been shut out too much, but some games where you felt that perhaps more runs could have crossed the plate. It's a foul ball with Rebhan stealing. But now there just seems to be a good confidence in this team. Get a comeback win like that, and that can always turn things in your favor. 1-1, skied, foul territory, and carries out. So run through the defense really quick for Creighton. Behind the plate is Lily West. At first base is Sydney Potter. Second base, Kenzie Nakasawa. Third is Erica Perez, and at short is Ashton Pearson. Left is Lynn Davis. Center field, Sidra Seville. Right field, Hannah Poole. All reliable defenders. 1-2. Elevating. Rebhan going to second. She's in there. Second stolen base of the season. 2 for 2. And Coach Carla Ross calling it out. As the Hoyas just need a run. They're trying to get anybody they can into scoring position. 2-2 count. Deliveries through, hit into right. This is Poole who catches in foul territory. Rebhan's going to tag to third. She gets in. And it's Strittmatter with a runner standing 60 feet away. 1-0, but Georgetown trying to tie up this game. They have never had a lead, and it hasn't been tied besides 1 or 0-0 in this series. And it hadn't really stayed 0-0 for long because Creighton would usually score pretty early. Strittmatter singled in the first. She has accounted for the lone hit for Georgetown today. Chauffeur is never allowed a run to the Hoyas and is in danger of doing so here, but she's in a favorable 0-2 count. Doesn't necessarily have the chance to go anywhere on this just because of Rebhan's speed at third, but can maybe get Strittmatter to chase something. 0-2, high fly ball, left field, and foul. For a glance or two, there was a shout that maybe that could have gone over the fence. Sticks at 0-2. Strittmatter's going to do everything she can in her power to get something out of this. Pitch coming outside, and there was that chase pitch. Strittmatter yesterday, no hits. 1-2. Strittmatter again fouled down that third base line, nearly hitting Coach Ross. And she's always got a good attitude. You can tell she just loves coaching this game. Has the honor of following one of the greats in Pat Conlon. 1-2. 2-2 now. Doing enough here. So now, maybe just one more that Chauffeur can waste. That doesn't necessarily cost her too much, but you know she wants the out. Hurls it in, and another foul ball. This is turning into a really spectacular at-bat. Strittmatter starting the count 0-2 and has pushed it to 2-2, fouling off some pitches. This is why she is batting in the 3 spot for the Hoyas. Foul ball again. Strittmatter's just a sophomore out of Scottsdale, Arizona. Entering the series tied for second in the Big East in doubles. She's got 6 now. She entered the series with 4. 7th in the Big East in slugging percentage at .639. That has since dropped to .595. Strittmatter hits it into right, and that's playable for Poole. And she closes her glove on the 3rd out. So Georgetown not quite able to score one. They leave it stranded at 3rd. We head to the 4th, 1-0 for Creighton. Top 4, 1-0 for Creighton. It's grown a little bit darker here in Washington, D.C. As Dunn delivers this one as it's smacked into right by Kenzie Nakasawa. Leadoff single for the Blue Jays. It's Nakasawa now 1 for 2. Erica Perez next, who singled as well in the 2nd inning. There's been no greater hit than a single today for the Blue Jays, but they've squared 6 of them forward. Perez looking for a bloop single, and it's converted. 2 runners on really quickly. No, they'll keep stringing those singles together if they have to. Time called as the infield will chat with Dunn. Couple straight pitches that have resulted in base runners for the Blue Jays. Most of the Hoyas, whenever it looks like things could get just a little tight, they're able to swarm together and try to pick each other up. Sage Hager is warming up in that Georgetown pen, by the way. Let's see if that ends up resulting in her coming into this game or not. It's Hannah Poole, the 8th batter, and takes a foul ball. Look out, almost hitting a few people on the concourse. The Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. Poole grounded into a fielder's choice in the 2nd inning. 0-1, foul back. And we talked about Poole and a couple of the places she went. She started over at Radford. 7 games in the shortened COVID season of 2020. Didn't play at all the next year, so you're really looking at nearly 2 full years without some softball for her. But sometimes those off years can be beneficial because all you're doing is working and working. So maybe perfecting the swing, perfecting your defense, your timing, everything. And she stepped in as that one swung on and missed, and it drops away from Pardini, and it allows Poole to sprint into first. And you don't see it often. Actually, they're going to wave her back. They're going to call her out, Hannah Poole. But the runners do advance to second and third. 1 out for Lynn Davis, and a time is called. As now Coach Wood will talk with the home plate umpire. And it's a new batter for Creighton. It's Avery Barnard pinch hitting for Lynn Davis. Barnard, the sophomore from Beatrice, Nebraska. Hits a hard one into left, foul ball. That was ready to score 2, and at least 2 bases for Barnard. And she transferred in from Wichita State, Barnard. Outside, 1-1. Played 26 games, mostly as a pinch runner. As a team that went 28-22, 16-11 in conference play. So they went to the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Ended up losing to Charlotte. I just had to move over 1 state from Kansas to Nebraska to continue her collegiate softball career. And you see Coach Wood going into the portal to bring in some pieces that she feels like this team has needed. With Barnard, with Poole. 3-1. Strike 2 as the bat was tossed away by Barnard. She thought her free bag was 60 feet away. And she'll line in again. Count is full. Dunn understands this could be a big one. Foul ball again. Now we've seen some batters work and work today. Just refusing to quit against opposition pitching. Another foul ball. Maybe another reason why Coach Wood wanted to get her in there. Player who sees the ball well. Barnard this season, a .229 average. It's 11 hits on the season. Waited on that one as it falls in front of Park. 1 run is in. And Barnard with a pinch hit RBI single to give Creighton a 2-0 lead. So Nakasawa was the one who scores. Perez is now standing at third base. And Coach Dolby comes out. Wind now really kind of picking up. It's getting even darker and darker out here. I am seeing in the radar that rain is afoot. It says about 30 minutes. It looks like it should be a light rain, but who knows with radars nowadays. It'll be a full chat, really, between everybody. Kayla Dunn has really become the ace of this team these last few years. A pitcher that they've been able to rely upon and certainly has to now. The fact that Julia Parker has not been seen in fairly recent going. She has 13 appearances this season. As the chat is taken out, another reason why you want to sit there and talk is because of Citra Seville. Could open up this game a little bit further than what it is right now. 1 ball, no strikes. Dunn kind of readdressing after each pitch. Getting her head into it. That's a hard hit ball, and sure enough, it's in the left. It's the 3rd run of the game for Creighton. Seville strikes one more time. RBI single. Again, it has all been singles today. Creighton have 9 hits. They're all singles. And the lead grows for Ashton Pearson, who grounded out to second her last time up, and she lays down the bunt. Dunn has to hurry. She's in safely. The amount of times that Pearson can catch defenses off guard with that is impressive. 10 hits, all singles. Bases loaded. 1 out. And it's Lily West who had a home run in the first game of this series. Has an RBI single. So let's start off the game in the first inning. A breaking ball up for ball 1. Lily West is the junior, ranked number 86 in the class of 2022 by Extra Innings Softball. There's a strike. And really, they knew she'd be making an impact early for this team. Very versatile player, good hitter, good power. Just this ability to be a leader out there. Unbelievable work ethic. You can tell just how much her teammates love playing with her. 1-2. Wind picking up as well. It's tight. Oh, didn't miss her by much. That would have been a costly hit batter. Definitely with these bases loaded. Pitch coming. West fouls it away. Sticks at 2-2. It's again another tight spot for Georgetown. A situation where they've been in a bit this season. Looking to get out of innings. Looking to get out of jams. Ball 3. As Pardini keeps it tight. Count is full. Every hit has been a single. Ball 4. And a run is walked in for Creighton. And so the lead is 4-0. They're just keeping the line moving. Kaylin Schultz, who also has some great power. And this may be that pitching change. As Coach Ross is going to take Kayla Dunn out of this game. And it is Sage Hager, who we kind of assumed might be given a chance here with her warming up. She's coming in a tight spot. 1 out, bases loaded. We'll return after this quick breather. Sage Hager, the new pitcher for Georgetown. The veteran, the grad student from San Mateo, California. .81 ERA for Hager. And here's her first addressed ball towards Kaylin Schultz. That's for a foul ball. Oh, looks like it worked its way into the Little League field. I think it might have unfortunately plunked maybe a bystander. Looks like they're okay. 1-1. Wow, wind is just really picking up here. It's actually pretty incredible how this day has changed in just about the span of an hour. 1 hour ago it was sunny, it was calm. And in the span of this time, it has turned into a dark, overcast day as this one is towering infield. Rub hand underneath, and she does make the grab. Here's a tag up. Holy moly. Everybody moves over. Sidra Seville on a shallow outfield pop-up. Tags up and scores the 5th run of the game. And that is heads-up base running, but that is heads-up speed. So not always do you see a 4 pop-up sacrifice fly. 5-0. It's a 4-run inning for Creighton. And trying to get more, and watch out! It's hit to the wall by Sydney Potter. 2 runs are in. The lead is 7. And they have hit around. Folks, it is still all only singles for Creighton. And they have done significant damage. And it's to Kenzie Nakasawa, who started off this inning with a single herself. Came around to score. Hager 1 out away from getting out of this, but more runs crossing. By the way, those runs all charged to Dunn. So now that adds a little bit onto her earned run total for the day, but now that book is officially closed on the senior number 16. Pitch coming. It levels itself up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Now once again, Creighton have pushed 7 past Georgetown. Had no answer for now these bats that are really coming alive as of late. Coach Wood just has to be pleased with now how this season could really be headed in a good direction. And this team no secret anymore. Teams understand how to go against this Creighton side, or at least a better understanding of it. There's more tape, more things to work off of. That's the price that comes with greatness. These teams now try to figure out different ways to beat you. But this team, this Coach Wood team, are finding other ways, and now it's a walk to Nakasawa. They're just finding other ways to find some success, reinventing games, reinventing at-bats, and gaining more confidence. You can really see the talent of a team when they can adjust to things that haven't been going well. Dribbler at second, Rebhan records the outs, and Georgetown are finally out of it after they allow 6. Bottom of the 4th inning is next, 7-0, the lead for Creighton. Bottom of the fourth inning with the score 7-0 Creighton. Wind really picking up in this bottom of the fourth. You know there's a storm of brewing. And there's been a storm from these Creighton bats today. 7 runs to 0. Goes 4-5-6 for Georgetown. Abby Kozo, the batter to start it off. Chauffeur still not allowing any runs to Georgetown ever. She is gaining confidence here. Pitch looking to come in here for Chauffeur. It moves to 2 balls and 1 strike. Kozo flew out to left field in the first inning. Hit it third. Perez with a great read on it. Out number 1. Naya Campos, the next batter, who arguably is due for something. She just has a really good eye for the ball. Great power, but looking for that consistency at the plate. You know, she's got it in her. We've seen it many times over the course of her career. 0-1. There's one ripped at second. Recovered by Nakasawa. 2 outs in the fourth for Holly Pardini. The catcher from California. Very hard worker out there. You can tell there's just a confidence in her stride, and certainly her defensive efforts behind the plate. You know, Holly Pardini started softball with some pitching lessons. Thought that maybe that was going to be the way to go for her. It's their strike 1, but didn't really like it. So she switched to catcher, that other side of it. And that is where she's thrived, and that's where she wanted to keep going. 1-1, hit hard in the left. And the outs collected by Creighton's Avery Barnard, who stayed in replacement of Lynn Davis. We go to the 5th, 7-0 for Creighton. Top of the 5th inning. Happy you're with us today, wherever you may be tuning in. The Sunday now afternoon, 10:57 a.m. first pitch. Up the middle, another single for Creighton. And it's Hannah Poole to start off the 5th inning. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this, folks. 12 hits for Creighton. Nothing longer than a single. That is insane. Hey, singles get the job done, though, don't they? No extra base hits at all. And Avery Barnard, the next batter. So the 8th run is standing over at first base. And Sage Hager is approaching into her 2nd inning of work, replacing Kayla Dunn. Hit into center. It's dropping. It sure looked like Danny Koo had a good run on it, but that ball just kind of died. 13 singles. They just keep the line moving. They are seeing everything so well. Sidger Seville is next. 2 runs scored in this game. Has an RBI. 1 hit. Struck out in the 2nd inning. Strike 1 to Seville. Well, the thing about Hager, too, and something that Creighton have been seeing, is Hager throws strikes. The Blue Jays are taking advantage of that. At second, Rebhan throw to second, and it's away! And there rolls in the 8th run of the game. Hannah Poole crosses home. Just a play at second. That got away. So Seville reaches time called again as the infield swarms together and tries to settle some things down again. As one more time, Creighton are in a dangerous spot. So it could get way worse than 8-0. Ashton Pearson, just not the batter you want to see, as a couple of singles. So a run scored as well, but her last time up was a bunt single. Both runners are going to third. Ball skips away. 2 stolen bases there. Seville being the best base runner on the team. Barnard ahead of her, not too shabby either. This has been the series of dreams for Creighton. We mentioned coming into it on Friday just how both of these teams were desperate for wins, and Creighton have taken that and run with it. And assuming that this result holds, would be just 2 games under 500 in Big East's play. Grounder at third, scooped by Strip Matter, but foul. Standing in there, Pearson. Hager, 2-2 count. 2 runners on, no outs. So dribbler at Fenton quickly throws to first. Oh, they didn't get her. Pearson runs it out again. There was close to no hesitation for Fenton. And that was still enough for Pearson to outrun it. Time called as now Coach Ross is going to work her way out of the dugout. And everybody's coming in, even the outfield, as this has just gotten away. Try to look in on this conversation. And you see some nodding in agreement there, certainly from Sage Hager, but it's something that you don't see incredibly too much. You see an infield gathering, but to bring in the outfielders as well, maybe just a sign of how this game and series has been for the Hoyas, as it is beginning to rain. A light sprinkling so far. Lily West with the bases loaded. No outs in the top of the 5th inning. Hager goes home, and it's ball 1. Well, for Creighton, if they move to 5 and 7, they're still sitting in that 7th place spot. Teams above them have been winning well. Teams that they'd be chasing down are Providence and Seton Hall. St. John's have been great this year at 11-1, 30-10 record. UConn next at 8-3, Butler at 10-4, Villanova 8-4, and then Seton Hall and Providence both at 8-7. And comes in Creighton at 4-7. DePaul and Georgetown sitting at the basement. DePaul at 1-11 and Georgetown at 0-14. Well, Creighton is really that team on the outside looking in who have a really decent shot of trying to get back into it. And that's a strike, preventing the 4-pitch walk with the bases loaded. West waits. Strike 2. Walked in a run in the 4th inning. Set a RBI single in the 1st, which seems like ages ago. That was a 1-0 lead that held for 3 innings until their 6-run 4th. And who knows what this is going to result in. And that one's hit into left. Single and an RBI, and another run comes in. 2 are through, and now a 3rd comes in. West is standing at 3rd. 11-0 for Creighton. Well, Sarlo had played it well, threw it home as they had given the green light at 3rd, and ball just got away from Pardini behind the plate. And that will be it for Hager. So, new pitcher is Avery Wismar. Georgetown just trying to get some outs here in the 5th inning. 11-0 the score. We'll take a breather. Quick warm-up for Avery Wismar. Their team trailing 11-0. No outs, runner at 3rd is Lily West. They're just trying to get out of this here. And a game where, you know, game threes, you just don't know what's going to happen. Sometimes you see different efforts. And this one has been very reminiscent of the rest of this series. And it's away. Lily West is going to sprint home. It's a 12th run for Creighton. And it clears the bases. (12-0). As the wind has died down slightly. Ball 2 from Wismar. 6 runs in the 4th, 5 runs in the 5th inning for Creighton. That's a strike to make it 3-1. Now, of course, these 12 runs, one could argue that's one of their best outings of the season. You have to think about that game against UConn where they lost 22-18. But when it comes to this season, you take out that game, I have to go back decent distance to the last time they scored 12 runs in a game. Foul ball. In fact, they hadn't done it this entire season. Before that UConn game, had a few games where they hit 10 runs. Purdue-Fort Wayne being one of those teams. Foul ball. You'd really have to track back even further than just this season. As there's a walk. Scored 11 runs against Butler last year on the road. They beat Villanova in 6 innings, 12-4 on April 6th of 2024, to the day. The last time outside of the UConn loss, where they scored at least 12 runs in a win, or a potential win, barring anything just absolutely heroic from Georgetown. Well, Kaylin Schultz is on with that walk. Sydney Potter now. Remember last year's series against Georgetown, they really had their way to 11-2 wins and a couple 8-0 wins. Creighton have had Georgetown's number these last few years. Very hardly hit down that third base line. Moves things to 0 balls and 2 strikes. Georgetown just looking for an out. Creighton have come out with explosiveness. 0-2. Dribbler at third. Strittmatter to first. Oh, it's bounced. And it gets away. And to third goes Elliott Smith for Creighton, who is now on the base paths. And this may allow Coach Wood to grab another pinch runner out there. And let's see who she elects to get there. Looks to be Annika Duginski out of Wisconsin, the freshman. So Coach Wood digging into the bench. Duginski this season, this is just her second game of her young career. has 1 run scored. So she'll have an opportunity there on the base pass. For Elliott Smith at third, it's her 15th game, and she'll get a run. So another single falls in. And how about that RBI single to make things 13-0 for Creighton. The runs just continue. And Georgetown still have yet to record an out in the 5th. Excellent RBI single for Reese Ramus, freshman from Murphy, Texas. It was very fast there on the base pass. You got to watch out for her. Batter is Ashley Smetter. Pinch hitting for Erica Perez. Junior from Lincoln, Nebraska. Popped up right side. This could maybe be the first out. It is. Long time between outs. And now 1 away. Oh, now perhaps another new batter for Creighton, and it is indeed Ella Dalton. Not necessarily a new batter, but a batter that has been an incredible piece. All Big East first team selection. For originally signing with Omaha. Didn't play there, but has played her entire career at Creighton. Dalton looks at strike 1. So Ramus over at first base. At second base is Annika Duginski. All getting some chances out there. Give a shout out to Ramus on that RBI single as well. In just her 18th game, that is her first collegiate RBI. Check swing. She went 1-2. Avery Wismar being used as the third pitcher for Georgetown. Kayla Dunn started the game. Sage Hager came in with the bases loaded and allowed those runs to score and a few others. Avery Wismar has seen a couple cross, but now gets the first out of this 5th inning. Remember, Georgetown will still bat in the bottom of the 5th inning, but if they cannot score at this point, at least 6 runs, this game is over. And they get her down on strikes. Dalton looking. That is 2 away in this 5th inning. And Wismar 1 out away from ending this marathon frame. Avery Barnard back at the plate. Has a couple of singles here today. Since pinch hitting for Lynn Davis. We've seen some really good defense out of. Seen some great outfield play in this series. Some outfield assists, which you don't see a plethora of, but also some good range by these players. Just excellent reads and excellent effort. 2 balls, no strikes. 2 runners on, 2 outs. Good scoop by Pardini behind the plate to make it 3-0. Well, coming up next for Creighton, which we again mentioned just how important this series was. They're at Nebraska on Wednesday. And then they've got a home series against Butler. We're above them in the table, so perhaps some confidence going into that series. Chopper right back at the circle. Wismar throw to first. And that is it for this 6th inning. Bottom half next. Georgetown, they need a few just to keep this game around. 13-0 for Creighton. Last chance for Georgetown in the 5th inning, losing 13-0. Goes 7-8-9. Park, Koo, Sarlo. Creighton back-to-back innings with 6 runs crossing. Offense alive, and folks, the same rings true. Really, nothing other than a single. The only thing that you could really consider longer than a single was Lily West, who had first singled, but because of a bad throw behind the plate, she was able to circle around and get to third base. And the home plate umpire is checking with the scorers table here. I don't know if this is a radar look or not. See them looking at a tablet right now. So a pause before things can spring into action in the bottom of the 5th. It's a windy day now in D.C. Okay, it actually looks like the umpire was working on his score sheet. I think it was to perhaps make sure that the defense was correct too. Just make sure all lineups were correct. So we'll run through that defense for Creighton now as it's slightly changed as the bunt laid down is not successful for Park. So in left field, Lynn Davis stays. Center field is Ella Dalton. And in right field is Sidra Seville. First base is still Sydney Potter. Second base is a change. It's now Megan McCutcheon, freshman from Defiance, Missouri. This one hit into center field. Dalton tracking back, and it's her out. First of the 5th. At short is Ashton Pearson, and at third is still Erica Perez. So really just a couple of notes, if you will. Now for Danny Koo. Strike one. Well, 2 outs away is Kenzie Schofer, for through 3 appearances, will have only allowed 7 hits to Georgetown. And no runs. She has the Hoyas number. Creighton have the Hoyas number, at least as of late. Remember, in the overall series, there wasn't too much of a difference. Entering, was Creighton leading overall 13-10. That's going to end up as 16-10. Assuming everything finishes how it is. Bunt being shown here for Koo. Pitch coming. And it's high in on the neck. Moves it to 3-1. For Georgetown, as they just try to get out of this series, what is next is a trip And they don't have too many games coming up here in soon succession. We mentioned how Creighton have 3 games in hand. It's just kind of how the Big East schedule works. So there's bound to be a weekend where you don't really have a game. And that's what's coming up for the Hoyas. They have nothing this next weekend. So all they have is a Wednesday game at George Mason. It's April 9th. There's ball 4. And then they see some successive home games. They're off for about a whole week. Then it's against Towson on Tuesday, April 15th. And then they've got a 2-game series, a midweek series with Providence. A 3 p.m. game on Wednesday, April 16th. And then a doubleheader on April 17th. A 12 and a 2:30 game. And then we'll just count you down the rest of the year. At George Washington on April 22nd, and at UConn the end of April. And then the final series is against DePaul. Nina Sarlo, the batter, talked about her great game on Friday. Well, Georgetown with a loss would be looking at 20 straight defeats. Still no win since the start of March. Sometimes it just kind of spirals, doesn't it? Again, and just in this stretch, there have been a lot of really good moments for this Hoyas team. Just a matter of a complete game. Popped up, foul territory, and the fence is able to touch it before Lily West could get to it. This is still a really young team, Georgetown, who are learning and growing. With a couple of grad students sprinkled in. 2-2. And this is just a series now that hasn't benefited the Hoyas. These Creighton Blue Jays have exploded here this weekend. Weekend where they knew they needed to try and do so. This one hit up the middle, just under the glove of McCutcheon. And into first base goes Georgetown. And Maggie Howard with a single. On the Georgetown bench, loving it. Because for Maggie Howard, she's now recorded her first collegiate hit. Just her 6th at-bat. From Greensburg, PA. Hit at third, foul ball. Pitch runner over at second base as well for Georgetown. It's Juliana Paul. Hit into center. Dalton's got a really good read on it, and she collects the out. It's the second here. Sammy Fenton grounded into a fielder's choice in the first and a fly out to right in the third. And it's the last chance for Georgetown with 2 outs in the 5th before the run rule comes into effect. Just what a series this has been for Creighton. It's like the Howard softball team are watching from afar. This is also their home field. One and one. A hit there. It skipped off a couple of gloves, but how about Pearson keeping it from going into the outfield? And now Georgetown, with as tricky of a situation they've had and forced on Creighton all day, have the bases loaded. They've got 2 of their hits here in just this 5th inning. For Emily Strittmatter, well, Schofer still has never allowed a run to Georgetown, but yet again, she's looking at a runner at third. The 1 out keeps that fact alive. 1 ball, no strikes. Levels itself up. By the way, that Howard team are playing against Delaware State at 3 p.m. Now that's what they're here early for. 1-1. Grounder at second. McCutcheon's got this handled. It's another shutout for Kenzie Schofer against Georgetown. 3 appearances, no runs allowed, and a final score of 13-0 for Creighton. Pitching staff, excellent, only allowing 2 runs this entire series. And how about the bats? Striking for 27 runs in this series, an aggregate score of 27-2. That is some serious stuff by Creighton, who are in business and will look to continue to climb that Big East ladder. As we'll run through just kind of what happened here today awfully quickly. 1 run in the first inning was hit in by Lily West. And then in innings 4 and 5, everything came to a front for Creighton. All singles, just continuing to move the line. They hit through the order both times in innings 4 and 5. 6 runs each for those frames. 16 hits overall in this game, and all of them singles. Incredible stuff by this Creighton offense, as they now move to 15-19 overall, 5-7 in conference play. And Georgetown, who threatened there in the bottom of the 5th, they fall to 8-23, 0-15 in Big East play, as they'll look now to stop this losing streak on the road at George Mason next on Wednesday. That will conclude it for us today in this entire series. Shout out to everybody being a part of this. Certainly Ralph Swanes, who has been great on camera, and our producer. I'm Christian Taylor saying so long. Final score here from this Sunday game. Creighton 13, Georgetown 0. See you next time, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.